Mm. Beautiful, 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 beloved brothers and sisters of the earth, beautiful beings of this amazing reality that we are creating together, this magical expression of life. I am Geeia Ariati, and I am of sound heart and sound mind. And I am excited to speak into something that I feel I have waited and longed for. I'm excited to speak into a point of change on the earth that supports this vibrational shift. A point on the earth that actually allows for a group of beings to come into pure creation and transcendence in a rapid point of expression. And although we knew through the eclipse energies that this was a possibility, although we knew from this transition, this tipping point, that there was going to be massive change, and that the chakras were realigning, the energy systems were changing, and that there would be a point, there would be a point where there would be a mass group of beings choosing beyond separation, beyond the division of the ego, beyond what has been, that this opportunity for individuals to move beyond the idea of what keeps us separate from all that is from source, and that is the concepts of masculine and feminine, the concepts of light and dark, the concepts of right and wrong, the concepts of up and down, the concepts that keep us in one lens of focus. And so what happens is these one lens focused expressions of our reality are collapsing. And by those that are choosing, those that have been doing this deep shadow work and journeying the realms of the human experience in a place of what you could consider to be hell, the beings that have been in this much challenge, there is now a point of choosing creation. Now, what I'm witnessing through my initiates, through the clients that I'm working with, through these healings, is what took me through dividing literally through, if we look at the light body, it's divided in a left and a right hemisphere. Our brain is divided in a left and a right hemisphere. We talk about our right side being our masculine and our left side being in our feminine. We talk about, to have a successful relationship, you need to have one person in one pole and one person in another pole. And we have all of these concepts that keep us in feminine and masculine division everywhere. And you don't even realize how much you are conditioned and brainwashed to see yourself as a feminine or a masculine, a light or a dark, or a left or a right. You are so divided that when the opening happens, that you can actually merge, and there is no left and right, there just is. When there is no masculine and feminine, there is just source, there is just oneness, there is just pure presence, creation, essence. I don't sit in my feminine or my masculine, I just sit in my being. Now you may say, from your perspective lens, that I am a feminine, a divine feminine. I am. But I am a woman. I am a woman in this reality that has remembered source in totality. And so I sit in the essence of union. I don't sit in a feminine expression nor in a masculine. I sit in my essence, the true expression of my being as a being of God. And now that took me many, many processes, sometimes 3, 4 quantum healings a day in 2 to 3 to 4 hours, depending on what I was moving through to get to this point. Now, you can only see me if you have become to a point where you can recognize what I be, which is fine. But what is happening is that those things that took me many hours, many times, is there's an opportunity on the earth for us to actually come into the point of dissolving these now very quickly, very easily, very gracefully, by actually choosing. By choosing the lens of creation, by choosing the lens of love, by choosing the lens of unity. And so all that does not fit those aspects must dissolve. And so if you're choosing it from a place of conscious choice, and if you fully are declaring with every aspect of your being that you are choosing Christos, that you are choosing to become one with God, Source Creator, that you are choosing to transcend the duality and the polarization of this reality, it's possible. And it's possible now with ease, not in the way that it took me, not in the hours of purging up separation consciousness, not in the hours of being in intense physical pain because my molecular structure had to push past the resistance to come into alignment, because the earth has shifted. Our collective has shifted. And so what's here is that there is this opportunity to move with the earth with ease and grace, to move with this tipping point in a way where you no longer divide yourself as feminine or masculine. You just become the essence of who you are. You no longer polarize yourself in the idea of up and down, that you see that illumination of light and source exists in all realities, and that the expression of the void is just as much the expression of the cosmic consciousness of all information. They are actually not separate. They are different perspective lenses that we have been conditioned to believe are. And so, although we live in this reality where there are all of these aspects, to transcend is to accept beyond. It does not mean that you will not experience these things. It does not mean, it actually means quite the opposite. So the idea of the construct of the human condition being the false matrix programs that have been created and conditioned into you, that you believe you are something that you are not. And one of the biggest fears of letting go of the ego is, I won't have a personality. Who am I without my ego? Without my ego, I am nothing. This is the biggest trap of the ego, is the attachment to the ego. The ego keeps you in a place of control. The ego keeps you in a place of actually not being the pure joy. Without ego, you actually have more personality. You have more play. You have more curiosity. You have a sense of ability to move with life as is. But the fear of the ego is, if I don't have ego, I won't have relationship. If I don't have ego, I won't have the ability to make or create massive change. If I don't have ego, people won't resonate with me. Right? So these are all the mind tricks that come up, all these stories that create this limitation. Now, the ego construct is just one of the separation consciousnesses. It is a big one, but it's not the only one. The ego construct is a created consciousness that is attached into your being, like all other consciousnesses that are shadowed or distorted or mutated. It's an energy signature. Your ego is just another energy signature. And your ego was created from the point of your karmic creation. So the very first point, that when you were pure creation, source, love, that you fragmented in this reality. And when you fragmented, you started to create belief systems that I would not do this, that this is not safe, that I cannot create in the way that I was told. And this creates the ego. The ego is a whole lot of narrative, belief. None of it's real. None. Anything that your ego speaks is a lie. And so the ego is keeping you safe. And it has worked, and it has been needed because we got so far from source. But we don't have to now. We don't have to be that far from source now. It actually, the ego construct is not keeping us safe anymore. The ego construct is actually causing us damage, destruction, pain. It did work. It worked when we were young. It worked when we couldn't look after ourselves. It worked in a way of disassociation. It worked in a way of that there was not enough vibrational frequency to support the inner essence to be in totality and creation. But in this new energy structure, moving into the 5D constructs that we are, it does not hold any assistance to the reality. And so these points, if you look at them from a quantum lens, and if you're feeling the call, if you are so ready and you know you're ready to let go of up and down, masculine, feminine, mum, dad, in, out, all of these points of what we say are universal laws that we are bound by, which is a story in itself, another entrapment program. You can transcend all of them because Mother, Father, God is oneness. That the universal laws are there to assist those that do not know how to abide by God's law. But universal laws do not have to be lived by here. You can choose God's law. Oneness. The law of one. That transcends all of these concepts. And that's where freedom and sovereignty truly lies. And maybe you're ready, and maybe you're absolutely not. And you're terrified of that idea, which is absolutely okay. You don't have to be ready. But what you can know in these moments is that there is a possibility for this. There is a possibility for a great transcending awakening happening right now. Because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing what took me months happening in 90 minutes. I'm seeing people choose to quantum leap beyond the story, to transform their matter, and to instantly heal. And that's exciting, because union is about being unified with God, being unified where I see you as you are me, where I am with all of the frequency of life, because I am life. And that's where we get to create this new possibility moving forward. So the closing aspect of this that I'd like to share is to think about where you divide yourself in this thought form that you think you cannot have or be anything other than that. Where up and down, where only God exists in the heavens. And you've decided that God cannot exist down here. Where you feel that God is only in the inner essence of you, and you've somehow forgotten that God speaks through you in your outer expression in every manifestation of creation. Yes, there are things that have stepped away from God, and yes, there are things that are not of God. They are separation consciousness creations. But what that means is that's actually a false illusion. They don't exist unless we put power there. Because when you create from a place of a negative ion or two negatives, they repel each other, right? So the idea of a separation consciousness, something that is in separation from God, creating something else, the only way it can exist is through the thought form that has put energy and placement on it, that believes it exists. Otherwise, it is just able to dissolve. And so we can dissolve so much right now by choosing creation. I love you, and I am so excited for the future. I am so excited that so many of us are choosing to transcend these division points, these separation points, and these ideas that have kept us separate for so long, so that we can start to be in more harmony and connection together. I love you.